Hey, good morning. I wanted to take a few minutes today and talk about a Brene Brown term. If you haven't figured it out yet, I'm a big Brene Brown fan. I like a lot of the way that she processes different phrases and defines them for herself. She takes her research, creates a term, and then defines it and puts it into common everyday usage. The term today is a scarcity mindset, and she's written about this several times, and it is something that I think probably permeates every aspect of our culture and probably affects every single person in some way. A scarcity mindset is the idea that we aren't going to have enough or be enough. And I struggle to find examples where it couldn't be something that happens in our daily life. The difference, though, is a scarcity mindset is different than the scarcity itself. So suddenly, maybe the idea of starvation, not having enough food, is different than a scarcity mindset of not having enough food. Where suddenly starving might be a reality, but the fear of starving becomes the mindset. And this happens to us almost in every aspect. Our culture seems to thrive on this scarcity mindset, where suddenly our news, our social media, the way that we run our businesses, the things that we fear about for our children and for ourselves are driven forward by this anxiety or fear that we're not going to have enough. And that could be money, it could be food, it could be jobs, it could be toilet paper, it could be freedom, it could be you pick a topic, and I think I could find an example of where at least some people or someone is afraid of that thing going away. And so the consequences of having that mindset are that we start to get kind of grabby and hold on to things. Because we are in that scarcity mindset and fear of losing, we tend to clump and hoard things, even if it's not a tangible object. That anxiety, that fear of not being enough gives us a rationalization for being able to hold on to things in a different way out of fear. How does that impact your daily life? What is it that you personally use that scarcity mindset for as a tool and a justification? And what are the impacts of that? Is that in terms of not being enough as a person, not smart enough, not fast enough, not good looking enough? And what are the things that you do to compensate for that, where you're making adjustments that may not need to be made because the reality of that thing doesn't actually exist in the way that you think it does because of that mindset? I've talked before about lenses, and the scarcity mindset ends up being a lens. Where are you wearing that lens, and where are you seeing scarcity where it may not exist in the way that you think it does? Please don't misunderstand me that there are times where there aren't enough things, or there is always room for development, but that's different than the mindset that you're going to starve or that there isn't going to be enough. Another dilemma in this is the disparity that it creates for our culture, because there are people that do not really have enough of some things. There are people that don't have enough food, or that don't have enough resources, or don't have enough jobs. And they are in a different state than those of us that have those things, but still have the scarcity mindset. Suddenly we are holding on to things that we don't really need. And we've had a really good example of that recently with toilet paper and the fear that we're going to lose it, and so that we get very anxious about trying to hold on to it. Where does that happen for you on a day-to-day basis? Where are you personally affected by this scarcity mindset? And is it possible to remove those lenses to be able to look at it, the actual data of, are you going to lose all of that thing? Please take some time and look at it, because it impacts how we talk to each other. It impacts how we read the news. It impacts how we treat ourselves. And I believe that there's an opportunity for there to be a much more confident and less anxious way of approaching our daily lives. I'd be happy to talk about that. Please feel free to comment below. I'm John Rhoads. This is Rhoads Life Coaching. I hope you're able to find purpose and meaning in daily life.